Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler, House of Cards TCG, and today I'm bringing you a very detailed deck profile. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, in my opinion, I feel like Dragon Link is just an extremely difficult deck to play, and it can intimidate a lot of people. So I want to do a really in-depth profile, and I felt like Dragon Link has so many different combos, it actually deserved its own combo tutorial video. So I'm going to be dropping that tomorrow, so make sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with all of our profiles and duels. And yeah, so we're going to go a real detailed version of what Dragon Link can do and what the cards do. And this is the profile video, as well as show you some tech options that you can play. A lot of the Dragon Link decks are very similar, but there's like probably about 15 flex spots, which can include hand traps, going second cards, or just more extenders. And I wanted to show you those different tech options and what you can do. And then I want to go over the extra deck and why we play the cards that we play in the extra deck. And then tomorrow, I will drop you the combo video where we're probably going to do a bunch of test hands with this deck. And then that's going to enable me to show you basically what this deck can do and how the different combos, different plays that you want to go with, and how you want to set up your boards going first, breaking boards going second. I feel like Dragon Link is just very, very, very detail oriented. So we're going to do two separate videos for this profile, but I appreciate you watching the profile. Stay tuned for the combo video tomorrow, and let's dive right on into it. All right, guys, let's dive into the Dragon Link profile. Again, I'm going to be explaining each card, which we usually don't do in a deck profile, but I feel like Dragon Link just has so much potential that it was worth doing a separate video for the profile and the combos. That way you could get more out of it. So the first one we're going to start off with is Triple Safer. So what Safer does is when this card's on the field, you can tribute it, and then you can tribute any card from your hand or field, including itself, and add a card equal to its level. So you can send any number of Dragon Monsters from your hand or face up on the field, add one Dragon Monster from your deck to your hand whose level equals their total original levels of those monsters sent to the graveyard. Now, you can send multiple cards with this. So if it comes up, let's say that you need to get to a level 8, like Chaos Dragon Levianeer, you can send a Tracer and this card to then search a Chaos Dragon Levianeer. So you can obviously do a lot of times people will attribute this card off the field to search a level 4, like a Tracer or somebody, mostly because you don't want to get hit with Imperm or Valor and this tributes for cost. So that is the Safer. I run one Black Metal Dragon, and I also have one Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. The reason why people are playing these cards is obviously Black Metal Dragon is another normal summon. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can search a Red Eyes card. So then Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, what it says is you can banish a dragon on the field and then special summon this card. You can then use the effect to bring back any dragon from your graveyard. Yeah, it's just one dragon monster. So Red Eyes Darkness Metal is great. The reason why people are playing this is because off of Seal, which we'll get into, you can tribute Seal, bring out Black Metal Dragon, and then what that does, when this goes to grave, you can search the Red Eyes Darkness Metal for follow-up, or on your turn, if you get hit with Nib and you have Seal up on the extra monster zone, you can then bring out Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon and continue your combos even through Nib. So I do think that this is very important. Now, I am playing the Chamber Dragon Maid package. If you don't play the Chamber Dragon Maid package, what I've seen a lot of people do is they will bump Black Metal to 2, so you have 2 copies, and then run an extra hand trap or extender. So you don't have to get the Chamber package in here. It's perfectly fine. Bump your Black Metal Dragon to 2, and then add either another hand trap or an extender, like for example, World Legacy Guard Dragon or something like that. We'll get over text that you can also play in the deck. Going into the rockets, so first we're going to start off with Rocket Tracer. Rocket Tracer is a great level 4 for you, and what it can do is it can pop a card on the field, face-up card on the field, and then special summon a rocket from the deck. I just want to make sure I got that. Yep. So you can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and special summon. A lot of times what you're going to do is you're going to pop Boot Sector Launch or something similar, and then you're going to bring out Rocket Recharger. And that gets you to your levels 8 because Tracer is a tuner. So now you can go into your Synchro 8 plays like your Chaos or your Savage Dragon. Now Recharger, what Recharger does is when a card is destroyed on the field, if a dark monster you control
from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card. So it has to be from the extra deck. So if a dark monster you control was special summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to graveyard, then target one of those destroyed monsters, special summon one dark monster from your graveyard with a different original name. So a lot of times what will happen with Recharger is when you have Striker Dragon in the extra monster zone, Striker Dragon's effect is you can pop itself, and then you can add back Recharger from the grave to your hand, discard it to then special summon out like a Tracer or something else to keep on extending. So Recharger, I've never seen a list play more than one. You always want to play one Recharger. It's good to have. A lot of times it's summoned off the Tracer effect, and then that's how you get into your Synchro plays. Or you can utilize it if it's in the graveyard or in your hand off the Striker Dragon effect when it pops itself to then continue to extend off from there. From there, we play Rokket Synchron. Rokket Synchron is a great card. It's a level 1 tuner. It allows you to help you get into Quad BROL or to help you get into the Hot Red Dragon. And what Rokket Synchron does, which a lot of people forget, is if this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 5 or higher dragon monster in your graveyard and then special summon it. Dark Dragon. It has to be a Dark Dragon. So you can target a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon and special summon it. So if you're in a bind, depending on your situation, what you can do is your Concealed Bounce, summon Synchron. If you have Tidying set, you can Tidying, bounce the Synchron back, bounce another card on the field, and then your next follow-up turn, if you have no follow-up, normal summon Synchron effect to then special summon out like a Nocto Vision Dragon or an Router. Because Synchron, being a level 1 tuner, and Router and Nocto Vision Dragon being level 7, then lets you go into your Synchro 8 plays. Speaking of, we have 2 Router Dragons, and I'll explain why we play 2 Router and 2 Nocto Vision. But what Router does is if you control a Rokket, you can special summon this card. So that does come up. If you have Rokket Synchron, you can then use the effect to bring back a Dark Dragon and special summon Abs from your hand. But a lot of times what this card is used for is if it's sent to the grave, you can add a Rokket monster to your hand. So that's really important. It allows you to get into like your plays with your Rockets and stuff. And then we have Nocto Vision Dragon. Nocto Vision Dragon is an easy extender. If a Dark Dragon is special summoned to the field, if a Dark Dragon monster is special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card. So it activates the effect, it chain blocks. So let's say you go into your Striker Dragon and you sent Black Metal to the grave. So you normal summon Black Metal, link it off for Striker Dragon, and now what you can do is you can chain block the entire series here, because you're going to get Black Metal 1 to search your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Striker 2 to search your Boot Sector Launch, Nocto Vision 3 to special summon itself, and they can't ash you or anything like that. Of course, they can still Impermanveiler the Striker, but they can't ash you, and that's really important. So Nocto Vision is a great extender as well as a great way to chain block. And then when it's linked off, you get to actually draw a card. Now this can come up as well. Let's just say hypothetically, you have Striker Dragon and Nocto Vision, you link 2 into Romulus. And what you can do is you could do Romulus 1, Nocto Vision 2. So you're going to draw a card and then search Ravine. Of course, you run the risk of drawing Ravine. It actually happened to me today. That's why I bring it up. But this card is a great chain block card. Now, what I want to get into, though, is with these cards here and your Safers, why these come up is because you can actually tribute summon each other. So let's say you have Router in hand, and then you have Safered in your hand as well. You can normal summon Safered, then you can activate effective Safered, pitch the Router for cost, and that allows you to search a level 7. So you can search Nocto Vision Dragon, by pitching Router Dragon. Router Dragon's effect will activate in grave. You'll be able to search out a Tracer and get your Nocto Vision. And then you can link off your Safer into Striker Dragon, summon out your Nocto Vision Dragon, and it's just full extension. So these 2 cards, any combination of these 2 cards here is actually like really insane. I love having the level 7 package in there, especially with the Safer. Next up, we have a Chamber Dragon Maid. It's mostly a one-of. Some decks have cut this package. I still like it for the extension and for the interruption. I think it's really important. So what Chamber Dragon Maid says is when it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Dragon Maid spell or trap from your deck, and that a lot of times is your Dragon Maid Tidying. And then this is a great seal target too. So if you have seal, you can bounce seal and another card, or tribute seal, bounce a card on your opponent's field or on your field, doesn't matter. And then you can activate seal effect to summon out Dragon Maid. Dragon Maid will then search and you'll be able to have the trap for next turn. And that's for extension. So given that the Dragon Maid Tidings, so what this does is you can target one dragon monster you control and one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard. That's important. This comes up a lot of times if they droplet you and they could send for cost, and then you could chain Tidying to bounce a card from their graveyard to then be able to activate an effect like Hot Red to negate the droplet. But that we'll go over that in the combos. But this also has another effect, as well as I should mention, Nocto Vision has an effect which protects your cards. Nocto's right under here. I'll get to him. So Nocto Vision actually has another effect where you can banish this from the graveyard to protect one of your traps, and they're protected for the rest of your turn. So what it says is you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate that effect. Also, your opponent cannot target that face down card or cards with card effects for the rest of the turn. So if they try to Twin Twister your Tidying, you can actually just banish Nocto Vision and they're protected for the rest of the turn. And that's really important to note. But Tidying has another effect as well. What you can do is if you have Chambered Dragon Maid and Tidying in the graveyard, you can actually, even on your opponent's turn, banish Tidying from your graveyard, summon out Chamber. And then Chamber, with even summon from the graveyard, would still get the effect to search your second Tidying. But again, all that will be, we'll go over all that in the tutorial, which will be tomorrow. So make sure to like and subscribe. Next card is we have Quick Launch. So Quick Launch is basically one of the better cards in the deck. What it does is it special summons a Rokket, and it is not once per turn, so it's actually insane. There's a really good combo with Tracer and Quick Launch. If you have Boot and you have summon out Tracer, then you can Quick Launch to bring out Synchron, activate Tracer effect to pop the Quick Launch, because that's the way that the chain resolves. Tracer is a quick effect, and I'll show you how that combo works out. But Quick Launch is a great card. This just gets you to your whole Rokket engine, and it really just keeps you going not once per turn, so you can open multiples. Then we have the triple Chaos Space. What Chaos Space is you can send one light or dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, add one light or dark monster that cannot be normal summoned or set from your deck to your hand with a level from 4 to 8 and with a different attribute. So what this means is, let's say you Chaos Space send Seyfried, you can then search the dark dragon, essentially, or it doesn't have to be a dragon, but in this case, in this deck, it would be a dragon. If you pitch a dark monster for cost for this, you would search then your white dragon. So that is the case with those two. So here they are. And what these cards are Chaos Space targets. Basically, what you need to know is Black Dragon, you need to banish a light from your graveyard to summon. White Dragon, you need to banish a dark monster from your graveyard to summon. And then when these cards go to the graveyard, then you can search the other one. So if Black Dragon is sent for Striker Dragon, you can then search your White Dragon, and then you can banish this card. Now, Chaos Space has another effect when it's in the graveyard, that if a card is banished that cannot be normal summoned or set, you can banish this card, shuffle it back into the deck, and draw a card. That can be used for both these dragons because these cannot be normal summoned. You cannot normal summon the White Dragon or Black Dragon. It has to be special summoned, as well as any extra deck card cannot be normal summoned. So you can shuffle back any extra deck card or any one of these two dragons in order to then banish Chaos Space, recycle that card, and then draw another card. So that's really important to note, because basically this deck you're going to go through a lot of cards, and it's really important. Another card that can't be normal summon set is Chaos Dragon Leviair. It has 3 different effects. The 2 that really come up in Dragon Link are if you banish all dark monsters from your graveyard, you can summon this and then activate an effect on field to rip a card from your opponent's hand randomly. Or if you banish a combination of dark and light monsters, you can then target and pop 2 cards on the field. Actually, destroy up to 2 cards. It does not target. So Levy does not target, but what you can do, Light and Darks, lets you pop 2 cards on the field. Doesn't matter if they're face up or face down. And if they're all dark, you can rip a card from your opponent's hand, as well as it's level 8, so it synergizes with your Chaos Dragon, as well as it synergizes with your BROL Savage, all being level 8 and having that play there. For field spells, we have Dragon Ravine. Dragon Ravine is searchable with Romulus. So when Romulus is summoned, you can activate the effect to search Dragon Ravine. What Dragon Ravine does, which is the effect that's important in Dragon Link, is when it's activated, you can send 1 dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard, but you do have to discard for cost. Now, this can come up a lot because there are cards like Saferd. So what Saferd allows you to do, which is this light card here, is if it's in the graveyard, you can banish this card and add a level 8 light or dark dragon monster from your graveyard and add it to your hand. Chaos Dragon Leviair is a level 8. So what you can do is with Ravine, let's say that you have a Saferd, you started with a Saferd. You can then, if Saferd's in the graveyard, send Chaos Dragon Leviair if you need to then banish the Saferd and get your Chaos Dragon Leviair into your hand. Also, you can send a Apsarouter. Apsarouter then lets you search for a Rokket monster. So there's a lot of utility with this. Let's say that you have Dragon Maid Tidying in the graveyard. You can send the Chamber Dragon Maid with this card. It does not matter. All it is send one dragon. So in the combo, we'll kind of show off some targets that you can do with the Ravine. And then your other field spell is Boot Sector Launch. Boot Sector Launch is searchable off Striker Dragon. And what Striker Dragon searches it, then you can activate this and you can special summon either two different things. You can up to 2 Rokket monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. Again, a lot of times you're sending abs or you have quick launch or you have different ways to access your Rokket engine. So this enables you to special up to 2 Rockets with different names from your hand in defense position. Or you can special summon up to, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon Rokket monsters with different names from your graveyard in defense position up to the difference. So we run 3 different Rockets, which are Tracer, Synchron, and the Recharger. So if all 3 of those are in the graveyard and your opponent has 3 monsters on the field, you can Boot Sector Launch, summon all 3 back out onto the graveyard, from the graveyard. So it's actually really insane. Boot Sector Launch is a great card, and a lot of times it's a target for Tracer, and you're gonna pop it with Tracer, but we'll show you that. Now I'm gonna get into kind of some text. So that is your main deck. So main deck is pretty much similar. All Dragon Link players kind of run a very, very similar deck. They might cut the chamber package or some different thing like that, but it's a very similar deck. So now you kind of have your flex spots. I like to run a 40 card deck just because I like to see my power cards. So there's 12 flex spots. What I like to run in Dragon Link is I'll run 3 Forbidden Droplet. Droplet is a great card. It enables you to get your negates. I really like this option right now, which is maining 3 Droll and Lockbird. You could also sub this for Nib or Lancia or something like that to add another light because you want to have lights in your deck. But for right now, I just think that Droll and Lockbird is a great meta call. So I'm actually playing in a really big Dragon Riders tournament, 32 man. And I'm actually maining Droll and Lockbird just because it hits so many of the meta decks. If you're playing Rogue with this deck, you're probably not going to have too much of a problem. So Droll, I think, is a great main deck. Yes, I know it's Wind, but I still like to see it. And then we run 3 Infinite Impermanence, and then I run 3 Effect Veiler. Obviously, Veiler is my light target. It can be added off the Chaos Dragon. So that is my 12 card flex and what I'm running. I wanted to show you some main deck options that you could run. Obviously, for an extender, if you want to cut the chamber package, you could put World Legacy Guard Dragon in. This is a really good card. It synergizes with Pisty. It lets you special summon a level 4 lower dragon monster from your graveyard. And then what you can do is you can target one dragon monster you control and move that monster you control to another of your main monster zones. So a lot of times with Pisty, and we'll go over this, you need Pisty to be able to point to an arrow that another Link monster points to, and World Legacy Guard Dragon definitely lets you have that. A lot of Dragon players aren't playing this, but it's still a really, really, really good card, and it's definitely a great extender. Let's say you don't have droplets, you could definitely put this in and have full extension, which is really going to help you. And then another tech for the main deck that I actually kind of like is obviously running the Chaos Emperor with the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. So what these do, the Odd Eyes, if you add it, not only is it a light monster, but you can pay, I think it's 500 life points. You can pay 500 life points, and then what that does is allow you to add Chaos Emperor. Chaos Emperor then lets you, cannot be normal summons are set, so both these cards are actually searchable off Chaos Space too, as well. And you can, by banishing one light dark monster, you can special summon this card. And then the effect that is important is it lets you recycle a banished card I'm trying to find these. Oh, here it is. You can pay 1,000 life points to target one of your banished dragon monsters. This is in the pendulum zone, of course. So in the pendulum zone, this is what the effect. I was reading the monster effect. Destroy this card. When this card gets destroyed, it then goes into the extra deck. So then you can actually summon it. But you destroy this card, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. So it's a way to recycle your Striker Dragon if it gets banished, and then have that for follow-up. And then when it destroys, it goes to your extra deck, and then you can banish it light and dark from the graveyard to actually summon it. And it's a 3,000 attack body, as well as, if you notice, it's also level 8, so it definitely has synergy. I actually do like these two cards. I think I want to try them out a little more. I think they're really good. All right, let's get into the extra deck a little bit. So we're going to start with Striker Dragon. Obviously, Striker Dragon searches you boot sector launch, and then we explained that it can pop itself to then add a card back to hand. So that's really important. Comes up. Your other link one is a Pisty. Pisty does come up, and this is what I was talking about by the arrow. So if you have one of your link 2s that are pointing most of the time to these two zones, you can move this with World Legacy, and now it's pointing to a zone that 2 cards point to, and you can special summon from grave. But a lot of times in Dragon Link, Pisty is just another link 1 to get one of your dragons into the grave. It does come up, or if you need to summon a dark monster, to summon Nocto Vision Dragon. So Pisty does come up. So you run one of each there. A link 2 is Romulus. Romulus searches you your Dragon Ravine, and that's really the only effect that you're going to be using in Dragon Link, is you use it to get to your Ravine, and you would do that if you need access to your Rokket engine, I've found, or if you need to send a card. So you're not always going to be going into Romulus to search Ravine, because it's not always the play. And then one of the best cards in the deck is Heretic Seal. Seal, what it does is it tributes itself. Most of the time, you can tribute itself. Bounce a card either on your opponent's field or on your own field. And then its second effect is it allows you to special summon a dragon from the deck. There's a lot of different things you could do with this, and again, depending on your hand. But this is so easy. It takes 2 dragon monsters to go into, and it's just a very easy card to make. And then, like I said, it's just an interruption on your opponent's turn. Does a lot. As well as, I will say this, it's another light. So it adds a light target in your graveyard. But keep in mind, with Romulus and Seal, Romulus being wind and Heretic Seal being a light, if you use Tracer's effect, you are locked into dark and you cannot summon these. So you want to make sure to get into your Seal before you use Tracer's effect. Next link 2 is Quad BROL. Quad BROL is a great card, especially going second if you're able to break your opponent's board. Let's say they have an Appaloosa. What this does is you can discard a card, target a card on the... honestly, it's any card on the field. You can discard and target one face-up monster on the field. So it does not even have to be a link. It could be anything. It could be Ultimate Conductor Tyranno for all you want, right? But what it says is, if it was a link monster, you can special summon any number of rocket monsters with different names from your hand or graveyard up to its link rating. So if you have all 3 of your rockets in the graveyard, you can definitely pop an Appaloosa and special summon all 3, so you don't have to pop Quad BROL. You can pop any link monster on the field or any monster on the field, so keep that in mind if there's a body that you need to get over. But a lot of times you're going to use this with a link to then special summon rockets from your graveyard. Card we all play is IP. Everybody knows what IP does. It lets you go into your Unicorn for another interruption. And then a card that I've been seeing a lot in the Dragon Link decks are, everybody's kind of cut Triple Burst, and they've been playing Hauki Fibrax. So what Hauki Fibrax is just a link climb. Really, it lets you get into your tuners. You have Effect Veiler, and you have Rokket Synchron, which you can then summon with this, go into Unicorn, go into Access Code, and to be able to basically OTK from that point. So that's why a lot of people have been playing Hauki Fibrax in this deck. And then you have your Unicorn. Of course, everybody knows Unicorn. And basically what that does is it spins back, shuffles a card on the field. Really good card, obviously. And then your access code for OTKs. And your last link 4 is Appaloosa. It's easy to make. You put bodies on the board. I still like Appaloosa in this deck. I think it's really good. And then for your Synchros, we have Borlode Savage Dragon. Savage Dragon, make sure you activate the effect when it is summoned. And then that you can attach a link monster, and it gets counters as well as gains half the attack of that link monster. So this is an Omni Negate for you. And yes, they can nib you and chain to the Savage Summon effect. When it goes to equip, they can still nib you and then break your board. So keep that in mind. One of the best cards in the deck is the Chaos Ruler, Chaotic Magical Dragon. What this does is it's a Synchro 8, and when it's summoned, it mills 5 cards to your graveyard. You can add a light or dark monster. So a lot of times, if you side in your Nib or Lancia, or you have your Effect Veiler, or anything, any extender that you may have, you can add any light or dark monster that's milled, as well as it dumps 4 other cards, 5 if you don't add, into the graveyard, which enable your deck is set up to be able to recycle in the graveyard and to be able to do a lot of different things. So Chaos Dragon, you want to make sure you go into that all the time. It's very important to get that mill 5, because you can mill a Seyfried Levy and a Chaos Dragon Leviair into the graveyard. Now you can use Seyfried's effect to banish and add Leviair. You can then mill a Absoraptor, add a Rokket monster. You can mill a Chamber Dragon Maid with a Dragon Maid Tidying, and then you can basically use that effect to then go into to summon back and search. There's a lot you can do, which is why I wanted to do a separate combo video, because Dragon Link is a very difficult deck to play in my opinion, so I wanted to do a lot with that. Then your only Synchro 9 is your Hot Red, obviously a Chaos Ruler and a Hot Dragon Archfiend. Make this, or a Rokket Synchron, because they're both level 1, or technically a Veiler. So what you want to do here is you're going to use your Chaos Ruler with the Rokket Synchron most of the time, make your Hot Red. And then Chaos Ruler has a second effect, which is obviously just like the Chaos Emperor, banish a light and dark monster from your graveyard, and then you can summon this back. However, when it goes to graveyard after it's been summoned back this way, it gets banished. So keep that in mind. But one way that we get around that is I'm actually playing the Sandalphon, the Sky Prison. It takes 2 level 8s. And then what it does is it gains the attack and defense for each monster in the graveyards. FYI, you usually have 10 to 15, not monsters, but you usually have like 5 to 10 monsters in the graveyard when you go to do this. So it always gains 500 to 1,000 attack and defense. And then also, you can detach 1 material from this card. It cannot be destroyed by card effects, and neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard. This has been coming up a lot, especially with DPE. And like the Bird Up deck and a lot of different things like that. So this card is actually really good. It's good tech. Obviously, Phantom Knights is a big one. So Sandalphon is a really good tech option. I really like it in this deck. So that is the extra deck. A couple options I wanted to show you are obviously you could play Boral Sword and Triple Burst. Those are great options to play in this deck, especially if you can't get access code or anything like that. So these are definitely 2 good tech options. And then last thing is I'm going to go into extra deck and show you some different things that I would play. So of course you want to have your triple Lancias. Obviously triple Lancias is a great side deck. It could even be main decked. I just don't think it's that impactful. I think that BROL is a really powerful card, and that's why I have it in. But it is another light target, and it can be added off the Chaos Ruler when you mill. So keep that in mind. Lancia is a definite great card. Another card you could be main decking, but could be side, is a Nibiru. Obviously, another light card. You can add it. And dragons, you don't really put up that huge of a board. Of course you can, but it's really about the grind with dragons and being able to OTK and stuff like that. So having Nib even going first is not a bad idea. So Nib, great card to have. I do have some back row removal. And I wanted to tell you this right now, why I play Twin Twisters over Cosmic. Because obviously Cosmic is the big meta call right now because of the Scythe lock. But the thing is that people will be siding Lancia against you. So you don't want to play Cosmic, in my opinion, in Dragon Link, because they will be siding Lancia against you. And then your Cosmic is dead, whereas Twin Twisters, you can plus off this because you can discard, say, an Absoraptor or a Dragon Maid Tidying. It doesn't matter, you can plus, and then you can pop 2 in the back row. I do understand it could be a Scythe and it could hurt you, but I just don't think that you play Cosmic in this deck. Another one is obviously Pank. Pank's just a great card going second, as well as Red Reboot. Obviously, trap decks can be a nuisance for Dragon Link. So these 2 cards are obviously one ofs. And then I have a couple options. I have Evenly in here, but for the same thing that I'm going to tell you, people are going to side Lancia against you. Do you really want Evenly, or do you want Lightning Storms? I haven't made the decision, but I'm probably going to go with Lightning Storms. But the other problem is you got to kind of pick your poison, right? So like, with the Evenly match, I would run 3. By the way, my other secret is coming in the mail. But I picked Evenly, and here's why. They're also going to be running cards like Anti-Spell and Imperial Order against you. And this is a going second card. So it's almost like you have to pick your poison. Are you worried about Lancia? Are you worried about IO and Anti-Spell? And to be honest with you, I feel like I would rather have Evenlies over Lightning Storms for that reason. It's just a personal preference, as well as people can negate the Lightning Storms a lot easier too, and it's just a lot. Evenly's just a really good card, especially when you have Seal and you could tidy and bounce and clear your board, and then you could still Evenly. So I think Evenly has a lot of utilization. But yeah, guys, that is the deck's 40 card deck. Side deck options. I think BROL in the main is actually really important, as well as my extra deck. So catch me tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping the combo video for this. I know this was a very long and detailed deck profile, but it's because dragons just have so much going for them, have a lot going on. So tomorrow I'm going to drop a combo video where you can check out the different combos with this deck and go into detail on what you want to do and what the different plays are with that. So I appreciate everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe. And this has been Tyler with House of Cards TCG, signing out.